At dawn, 20,000 Italian soldiers marched into Ethiopia, believing the conquest would be easy.
They expected scattered resistance, outdated weapons, and a victory before breakfast.
Instead, they found 100,000 Ethiopian warriors waiting in perfect formation. "15 years earlier, Europe's powers gathered in Berlin to divide Africa like property on a table.
No Africans were present. No permission was asked. Borders were drawn with ink and arrogance.
But one ancient kingdom remained unclaimed. Ethiopia stood independent, proud, and unbroken. Britain, France, Germany, and Belgium seized vast lands, racing to claim every corner of the continent.
Unified only recently, Italy sought an empire to prove itself among Europe's great powers.
Italy focused on the Horn of Africa, seeing opportunity along the Red Sea trade routes.
In 1885, Italy seized Eritrea, establishing its first colonial base near Ethiopia.
In 1844, a child was born into Ethiopian nobility during a period of regional transformation. During this period, Ethiopia was governed through several regional leadership centers. Within royal environments, he received education in governance, diplomacy, and cultural tradition. Upon returning to his homeland, he focused on strengthening trade, administration, and cultural unity. Leadership initiatives focused on strengthening administration, trade networks, and community organization.
Diplomatic communication expanded through dialogue with international representatives and trading partners.
Efforts were made to expand transportation routes, communication systems, and economic connectivity. Formal discussions were held to establish diplomatic agreements and strengthen international relations. A formal agreement was signed, symbolizing cooperation and diplomatic recognition.
Differences in language interpretation created uncertainty in how the agreement was understood.
Foreign officials publicly described Ethiopia as being under diplomatic influence, increasing international attention.
Governments across Europe reviewed diplomatic communications and evaluated regional political developments.
Foreign officials publicly described Ethiopia as being under diplomatic influence, increasing international attention.
Governments across Europe reviewed diplomatic communications and evaluated regional political developments. Ethiopian leadership carefully examined diplomatic correspondence and clarified national sovereignty.
Differences in diplomatic interpretation increased tension and uncertainty between governments.
Leadership issued a formal declaration reaffirming Ethiopia's independent political authority. Diplomatic messages were sent internationally to clarify Ethiopia's independent status. Leadership gathered advisors to review international relations and national planning strategies. Political disagreements intensified, drawing greater international attention to the region. Communities across the highlands responded to leadership calls by organizing and gathering together. Regional leadership networks worked together to organize resources, communication, and transportation. Communities coordinated transportation, food storage, and travel planning across long distances. Shared cultural identity and traditions strengthened collective determination across communities.
Foreign expeditions moved gradually across unfamiliar landscapes toward Ethiopian territory.
Local leadership relied on deep knowledge of mountainous landscapes and regional pathways.
Regional groups carefully positioned themselves across strategic landscapes through coordinated planning.
Both sides prepared carefully as a defining historical moment approached. As dawn arrived over the Adwa Mountains, thousands gathered across the highlands for a defining moment in history. Large, coordinated movements unfolded across the mountainous terrain as history moved forward.
The events that followed reshaped the future of Ethiopia and influenced global history.
The historic day became a powerful symbol of unity, resilience, and independence.
News of the historic outcome spread rapidly across continents, drawing worldwide attention.
Political leaders faced intense debate and national reflection following the historic outcome.
The historic outcome became a powerful symbol of independence and unity across Africa and beyond. Nations across the world formally recognized Ethiopia's independence and diplomatic authority.
The Treaty of Addis Ababa formally recognized Ethiopia's sovereignty through diplomatic agreement between nations. Following the treaty, Ethiopia strengthened diplomatic ties and expanded international partnerships.
Ethiopia began expanding infrastructure, communication systems, and transportation networks to strengthen national growth.
Educational institutions and cultural programs expanded, helping Ethiopia prepare for future generations.
As the years passed, the aging leader reflected on his legacy, while the nation prepared for a new chapter of history. As leadership succession approached, Ethiopia faced uncertainty about its future political direction.
While leadership challenges emerged, royal officials continued guiding national administration.
With the passing of an era, Ethiopia reflected on a reign that shaped its independence and identity.
A new generation of leadership stepped forward to guide Ethiopia through changing global times.
Ethiopia expanded its diplomatic presence and strengthened relations with nations across the world.
As the world entered a new era, global political tensions began reshaping international relations.
In Italy, new political ambitions began shaping visions of expansion and renewed imperial influence.
Italy strengthened industry, administration, and infrastructure as part of expanding national ambitions.
Around the world, shifting political alliances and concerns signaled an uncertain international future. Ethiopian leadership closely monitored global developments while strengthening national stability.
By the mid-1930s, renewed foreign expansion placed heavy pressure on Ethiopian sovereignty. Despite diplomatic appeals, global responses remained cautious and limited.
Facing global uncertainty, Ethiopia united once more to defend its independence.
Ethiopian leadership turned to international institutions, seeking protection through diplomacy.
During the late 1930s, Ethiopia experienced a period of foreign control that deeply affected its national identity.
Despite foreign rule, Ethiopian culture, religion, and traditions continued to unite the people.
Across Ethiopia, quiet networks of resistance preserved national hope and determination.
Even during occupation, the spirit of independence remained alive within the Ethiopian people. Global alliances formed to support Ethiopia's path toward liberation and national restoration. Foreign administration gradually withdrew, allowing Ethiopia to reclaim control of its homeland.
Ethiopia welcomed the return of national leadership, restoring sovereignty and national pride.
With independence restored, Ethiopia once again stood as a symbol of resilience and national unity.
The victory at Adwa became a powerful symbol of African strength, unity, and self-determination. The legacy of Adwa inspired independence movements and freedom struggles across the world.
Adwa stands forever as a reminder that unity, preparation, and courage can shape the destiny of nations.
Each year, Ethiopia commemorates Adwa as a symbol of independence and national pride.